right, they gave me 30 minutes and I got an hour's worth of work to get into, so let's get after it. Okay, so they asked me to talk about, what am I talking about? Expanding the brand, expanding the brand. So, well, in order to expand the brand, you've got to have a brand, right? And so my first brand was Marty Bees. So I wrote on my notes to create, define, and expand. So when I created Marty Bees, I had one goal in mind, to get the dang thing open. That was my goal. And we wanted to create a place for people to come together, our purpose, connect with their friends and family, and celebrate life. And so in order to do that, we have to be intentional about the way we created the space. And so when Marty B's opened in 2017, I was laser focused on just getting the restaurant open. And so I had to think about, well, what does the community need, right? I think in any business, you got to do two things. You got to solve a problem or you got to add value to someone's life. And so I know that if you don't eat, that's a problem. I'm going to solve that one. And I also know that when people come into a restaurant, the experience they receive there is really going to determine whether they come back or not. And so we were very thoughtful about that. And so we opened up, and creating the brand was about, you got to have great food, you got to have a great facility, great service, and all those things. But at the end of the day, I always talk about, hospitality and service, and we'll go into it a little bit later. But, hospitality is how you make people feel. Service is all the details. And some of you probably have gone out and had dinner at some restaurants, and they had great service, but you didn't feel welcome. And so I always say the way we make people feel is probably more important in some degree than some of the service that you receive. Is there a clicker somewhere? Is this it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so excuse me here. All this stuff, I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. One thing I want to make sure I convey today as we think about this talk is just loving on people, honoring people, and trying to do the best you can for the people that are on your team. And loving people looks a lot different than probably maybe what you're thinking in your mind. Loving people means a lot of things to me, but the number one thing it means, as we talk about, as it relates to our purpose, creating a space for people to come together, connect with their friends and family, and celebrate life. One of the things that I feel like gives us a unique position is the magic of Marty B's. It's selection, truth, and accountability. And all this stuff is not proprietary. Feel free to steal it, copy it, use it for your own benefit, whatever you want to do. But when we created Marty B's, I always said I wanted to hire people that have a heart, right? And so I really cared less about the experience. I cared more about what kind of person they were, how they made people feel when they walked into our business. But selection is probably the most important thing we do, because I'm going to spend a lot of time today on culture, but culture is really defined by the people. And culture in its dumbed down version is really, how do you make people feel when you're in your business? I think culture is caught, not taught. And so the way that people catch culture is a lot of how we behave and our example that we set when we're in the business. So selection. I always say this: if I'm going to teach an animal to climb a tree, do I train a horse or hire a squirrel? What do squirrels do? They climb trees. Okay? Now, if the horse has won the Kentucky Derby, he swims every day, he's like incredibly gifted and talented, can he climb a tree? Can't do it. But think about it. You probably in your business have a horse trying to do a squirrel's job. And I had a guy I used to work for, and he had this sign in his office, and it said, "Never teach a pig how to sing. It frustrates you and annoys the pig." And so most people, though, will spend so much time, effort, and energy trying to take people that aren't meant to be in the position that they're in and try to make them into something that they're not. And that just isn't going to happen. And so, you know, um, certainly you want to coach people up. You want to love on them. You want to show them the right way, the right example. But oftentimes they're just not going to do it because that's not who God designed them to be. And when that happens, often we'll say, well, we're really robbing that person of their God-gifted ability to go and pursue their giftedness, their dreams. And I have several people that I've had to terminate over my career that are doing incredibly well now that had I not made the hard decision to get them off the team, they wouldn't be able to be doing what they're doing today. So y'all know when you should fire someone, right? When? Billy, right. As soon as you think about it, right? Because what you'll end up doing is when you fire that person, what does everybody else on the team say? It's about dang time. Why it took them so long to fire them, right? They already knew a day after they started that they weren't going to work out and they weren't going to make it. So being intentional about that is super important. Truth. Truth is critical. And honestly, today's world, we don't know what's real and what's Memorex. What is truth? Okay, well, I can tell you where my truth comes from. And the way we operate our business is from biblical principles. Steve, how you doing today? Good to see you. And so truth, that's our foundation. And so we often will say, and we do talk to everybody about this that comes to work for our organization, we're a Christian conservative organization. That's who I am. I'm not a business owner first, I'm a Christian first. Okay? And I'm going to be more of who God created me to be in my business. And so if I'm going to put myself out there and say, hey, I'm a conservative Christian organization, that puts a lot of pressure on me, right? Because if we're going to say that, the way we perform has to be at a level of excellence that no one can define other than through this guy must have Christ living in his heart, because there's no way they can demonstrate that level of excellence otherwise. You know, think about Chick-fil-A. There's two words you hear every time you go into Chick-fil-A. What is it? Exactly. It's my pleasure. So they've just done a remarkable job at that. But truth is critical. When you come into our business and you've worked for me, I will promise you, if you're in a leadership position, there's been some confrontation, right? And if there's no confrontation, there's growth. And y'all know the 3 C's, or 2 C's and a G: change, conflict, growth. If you don't have conflict, you're not going to have any growth. And so I invite and I embrace when we have challenges and conflicts in the business, because that's where the growth really comes from. What got you here isn't going to get you there. We just had a meeting this past week. We have weekly directionals at all the restaurants. Wednesday we do all the Marty B brands at Marty B's. And I said everybody at the table is, you know, Kella, she's a server, she's moving up into management. And I was like, Kella, the way you thought about where you have been to get you at this table isn't going to be the way you're going to have to think to get you engaged at the table. You're at the table. Now what are you going to do about it, right? So I have to walk through that. And then accountability. Accountability is critical. In fact, you can have all the truth in the whole world, but if you don't have accountability, you have meaningless truth, right? And so part of this that I'm talking about is really kind of works intertwined with our culture. So the reason we hire and attract such great employees is we get the parents, our customers, they want their kids to work for us. You know why they want them to work for us? Because they know we're going to say the things that they're at our workplace that the parents are even afraid to say, right? And so they know they're going to get a dose of truth. They know they're going to get a dose of accountability. My dentist, his son, Towns, calls me, Marty, can you give Towns a job? I go, yeah, well, you know, one of the things we do is we do a personality profile, culture index. It kind of tells us where they're going to be best suited. And so, and he's telling me about his son. But I did his personality profile, and he calls me about it. And he goes, I just want him to come work there, and I want you to like help him develop his personality and do all these things. I go, Dr. Mason, this is not who your son is. And my son's like that. My son is very cerebral. He is not an extrovert. He's an introvert. Now, my 2 daughters, they'll talk all day. But my son, he ain't going to say 2 words to you unless you ask him, right? And so Towns is doing great. He's been with me for a couple years, and he's developed, right? But I think Dr. Mason was expecting me to just transform the kid. Well, that just isn't going to happen. I'm like, I mean, you're the doctor. So anyway, selection, truth, accountability. If you don't have a person on, if you aren't the person that's going to deliver the truth and the accountability, you've got to have that person. Now, if you're a business doing over $1 million, you got to have 3 people on your team. One, you got to have someone that can communicate the vision and the why of the organization. In my company, that's me. I'm culture, concept, creation, food creation and concept. Sorry. Culture, vision, concept, food. That's what I do. So when I'm in my business, I'm not running the business. I'm trying to help manage and elevate the business. We have a team of people that do all that. So you got to have someone that communicates the vision, the why of the organization. The promoter. I always say I'm like the cheerleader. Second person you got to have is you got to have somebody that can execute, right? Who's going to deliver the goods? Who's that person in the organization? That person is probably the one casting the truth and telling the truth, holding the team accountable. And then the third person you got to have is who's managing the money. Now, we all know we can get up here and talk about how great everything's going and make ourselves feel good, but at the end of the day, guess what your report card is? It's your P&L. And we want a lot more P than we want L. You know what I'm talking about? Isn't it amazing, though, on a P&L, there's only 2 or 3 ways you make money, and then you got about 100 ways you lose it. In the restaurant business, we say we make it by the penny, we lose it by the dollar. And that's really true. So you got to have those 3 things, someone communicating vision, the why, someone that helps execute, and someone that can manage the money. In my organization, I have 3 people that help us execute. Matt Diddy delivers all the execution at Marty Beeville. Bryan Gasperson is a partner of 4 of my restaurants, and he helps me execute at a very high level in those businesses. And then Nathan Carpenter is our director of operations over those same businesses. And so they help execute the goals and the mission and the culture that I'm trying to create. The person that delivers the goods on the money, I got Michelle, Holly, and Mike. And they each have entities that they take care of. And so for me, you know, I just came back from a 2-week vacation. In the 35 years I've been running restaurants, I've never taken a 2-week vacation. And I took 2 weeks off, and I was like, hell, I should have taken another week off. I got back, I didn't even think they recognized me and even noticed me. But anyway, most people are in love with the idea of owning a business, but not in love with the amount of work required to make it successful. Now, some of you in here are a horse trying to be a squirrel. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I've got a girl that works for me. Her name is Tansy Turner. She manages our events and does an incredible job of it. She owned her own business. You know what she told me? I make more money, I'm less stressed, and I have way more fun working for you than when I owned my own business. Not everybody is meant to be a business owner. And it may be you in this room. If it creates stress and heartache and you're not excited every day to wake up and go pursue that business, it's okay. It's okay. Go find something that gives you energy, excitement. Be around people that you love and want to be with, right? Because at the end of the day, the job is really defined by the people you're around. It could be a terrible job, but if you're around great people, it's a great job, right? So just be thoughtful about that. Who are you? Have you asked that question? Who am I? What am I good at? What do I like doing? We talked earlier about the 6 working geniuses, and I love that. Now, the good news, he has a tool. He has a tool for how he hires and selects people. If you are a business and you don't have a tool that helps you attract the right type of employee, friends, you're at such a disadvantage. You're in the boxing ring with both hands tied behind your back. Free your hands up, put on the boxing gloves, and get in the damn ring. You cannot have a business and hire people if you don't have a tool that helps you understand how God created them to be. It doesn't matter what tool. There's a lot of great ones. DISC, the 6 geniuses, we use Culture Index. There's Myers-Briggs. There's a bunch of them. I've used a bunch of them. But what is important is that you have one that helps you learn things about those people that you're not going to know in an interview. Everybody tells you everything they want to hear in an interview, right? They're trying to get the job. And guess when you're going to learn most about them? The first day. Did they show up on time? Did they look good? Were they coachable? Do they know everything? Right? Most people know everything. And so you learn all that real quick. Peter Drucker, one of my favorite quotes, culture eats strategy for breakfast. You can have the best strategy in the whole world, but if you don't got amazing people to deliver the goods, you're not going to get anywhere. I always say, I think about growing my business, I'm only going to go into places where I can hire the right people, attract the right customers. Well, now I've pretty much alleviated 80% of the market. But as I say, when it comes to attracting customers, I'm not trying to serve 100% of the people. I only want to serve the ones that appreciate the value, quality, experience we deliver. And there's a bunch of them, just so happens to be. And a lot of them eat with us frequently. Consistency. Now, so we've talked about, creating the brand, and I'm really trying to just kind of define a little bit about what we do that helps us put systems in place to be able to at some point keep growing and keep expanding. Does our staff and team understand and know the goals and the objectives? About a month ago, I asked this question. What do you think are the most important things that drive success at Marty B's? 22 people in the room. We all went around. Everybody said what they thought. We have a shift meeting. Now, at Marty B's alone, we have over 300 employees. I think we're up to 800 now total. And 150 of those, no, 75 of those are managers. So we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of people working. Now, can I do more sales if I have less salespeople working or more salespeople working? Well, I'll be gosh darn. But think about it. Most businesses and organizations are short-staffed. They say they want a staff for the business that they want, but honestly, they don't mean it. I interviewed a guy 2 days ago. He works for a company I used to work at. Guess why he's interviewing with me? Because they took away all the incentive. They've been talking about how amazing everything is. They're going to grow. They're going to keep opening restaurants. And then the guy that's doing all the work, what do? They penalize him. They take away his incentive. And I'm mad. I'm mad for the guy. I said, that pisses me off that they're doing that to you. You had a great year. You had your best year ever last year as a manager, and now they've taken away all your incentive. Yeah, you should come work for me. So then we ask the same question to our team. What are the things that make us most successful? Well, can I deliver some really cool news? They all pretty much said the same thing. Hospitality, personal grooming, attitude. Now, personal grooming, I wasn't expecting that one. Let me tell you about personal grooming. I'll skip. Oh. Okay. I'm going to skip around here and we'll go back to some of this. I'm going to cover these real fast. Again, take them, adopt them, change them, whatever. But I can tell you this. These 10 things that don't make a dang what business you're in, they're important. All those parents that said they want their kids to work for me, you know why? Because they want them to learn this. Hospitality. How do we make people feel? Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. If that's offensive to you, then I don't need you as a customer. It's who we are. It's in our brand. It is our culture. It's our DNA. Personal grooming, I say, the number one thing you can do to show respect for your customer is to take care of your personal grooming. Shave. Have natural colored hair. No excessive tattoos that are offensive. No excessive body piercings. Look like a dang pincushion, right? I want your shoes to be clean. I want your uniform. I want your apron to be clean. It's at eye level, okay? Look good. Smell good. Be personally groomed for respect for our customers. Now, y'all sometimes go into some of these places and you know what I'm talking about. It's a crapshoot on hair color. The fact that they have a belt on, their shirt is not going to be tucked in. I'm telling you, this is the little things that make a big difference. Training. Know the stuff, right? I always say confidence does not come from me. I'm not going to walk around and tell you how great you are all day long, every day. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to teach you culture, and I'm going to train you the right way, and you're going to have all the confidence in the whole world because you know what the hell you're doing. Amen? Safety. We always say, number 4 on the list, number 1 in our heart. The number one thing that could damage my whole entire organization is somebody got hurt or sick and died at my business. Now, we don't like to talk about it, but it's important to talk about because I have to talk about it. We have a white bucket in the dish room. Anything that breaks goes into the white bucket. Why doesn't it go into the trash can? The reason it doesn't go in the trash can is when the guy takes and dumps the trash, it could slit his wrist. It could cut his hand. Safety is important. Speed, work ethic. John Wooden says, be quick, but don't hurry. Move with a sense of purpose. Don't be reckless, but be intentional. Accuracy. Is accuracy important in your business? If someone orders something and you don't deliver it the way they ordered it, is that bad for your business? Don't make a dang what you're doing. If it's roofing, if it's insurance, if it's financial planning, if it's landscaping, accuracy is important. Teamwork. Is it important everybody works together toward a common goal? Does that only mean at a restaurant? It means everything. Punctuality. Showing up on time. Billy talked about it earlier. Cleanliness. Herman Cain used to be the CEO and president of Godfather's Pizza. He says, our goal is immaculate. Does everybody know what immaculate means? You don't probably have to look that up in the dictionary. Everybody knows that's the goal. Immaculate is the goal. Now, do we want to have fun? Yes. Do we want to have fun if the uniforms aren't good, the service isn't being delivered, the restaurant's dirty? If you're having fun and that's happening, you're not going to be having fun for long, I promise you, because there's going to be a consequence for that. All right, that's the 10 Commandments. I got 8 minutes. Here we go. Okay, this is a great one. Some of our best ideas we've had as an organization is asking the question, how do we make this experience more amazing for our team? How do we make the experience at Marty B's more amazing for the customers? Now, every day people tell me how to run my business. You know what you should do? Marty, you know what you should do? All day long. But every now and then, somebody has a really good idea, and I have to act just so engaged and so encouraged and so happy they're telling me, Marty, man, I got this great band. You should have them. Yeah, I bet you do. But the best ideas have come from our team. Why do we keep growing? 2 reasons. Do you want to give all your money to the government? Hell no. So I want to grow for 2 reasons. I want to keep more of my money. I want to invest in an asset that grows monetarily over time. More importantly, I want my team to have opportunity. Now, we give a 50% discount for every one of our employees that get to eat at all 9 restaurants. Why do you think that's important? Do I want them going out and being solicited by the competition? No, I want them eating in my restaurants. I want them to be excited about eating in our restaurants. I want them to bring in their family to our restaurants. And I want to create opportunity. Guess what competition Marty B is going to have? Myself. I have 7 restaurants, about to be 8 on 407 within a 5-mile strip. Well, hey, good for me, right? So when they think about where they're going to go eat, hopefully they're going to go eat at our restaurants. Business is either growing or dying. 2 things we look at: sales, guest count. The guest count, the sales can lie to you. If you've raised prices because of inflation, maybe you're up in sales, but you're losing customers. Bad news. You need to be growing customers. That's the success and value of your business. Investing in the business. It's a living, breathing organism. Always say running a restaurant's like having a 2-year-old that never grows up. I'm always watching them. Every day I read all the notes. I look at the sales. I look at every detail of our financial situation. Every morning when I wake up, my first 30 to 45 minutes of my day is I'm looking. And I'm looking, so guess what the staff knows? Do they know I'm looking? Dang right they know I'm looking. But you got to invest. You got to invest relationally. You got to invest financially. Like if you've been to Marty B's lately, in the 8 years, I'm always doing something to it. I'm always changing it. I'm always making it better. Probably because I got a great idea from my customer or my employee. Scaling. Now, John Maxwell's 17 irrefutable laws of teamwork. He's got a law in there called the law of the lid, and this one will eat your lunch like nobody's business. And so Billy talked about it earlier. The only way you're going to increase your capacity to lead is through being a part of something like this. Books you read, people you meet. There ain't no other way to do it. Now, if you're a 5 and you got a 7 working for you, you're not going to have them for long. They're going to be very frustrated by your inadequacy, your failure to lead. And if you're not surrounding yourself, like Billy said, with the great people, you're losing. If you're not increasing your leadership capacity, you're losing. Now, I always say addition by subtraction. There's a lot of people that I used to be very good friends with. Guess what? We're not friends anymore. Do I like them? Yes. Do they rob me of my energy? Yes. I'm not going to go eat with somebody that's doing that. And trust me, I get invited to shit all the time. But I have to say no. Because no's powerful, right? Systems, process. Now, I just told you I have 9 restaurants. I got 4 under construction. I've decided, I'm wising up, believe it or not. I've decided I'm going to pick a brand and scale it. It's going to be Brandon Bowles. I got my second one under construction. I got a third one I'm looking at next week. But I got the ponder. I won't tell you about that. But it's all about systems and process. Do we have a recipe book? Yeah. We have a training manual? Yeah. We have a dress code? Yeah. We have the 10 Commandments? Yes. And so all those things I talk about aren't delivered in what I say, it's what I do. When I'm in my business, you're going to probably see me sweeping the floor, pre-busting a table, shaking somebody's hand, tilting my hat to somebody I've never met. Why am I doing it? I'm respectful, number one. Number two, I want my team to model the same behavior that I'm doing. I can't tell them. Everybody raise your hand. Okay, now put it on your chin. Is that your chin? He did. Okay, yeah. They're going to model what you say. They're going to model what you do, not what they say. That's just the way it goes. Now, social media. Is social media important to me in my business? Yes. Now, is it important if you're Edward Jones? What are you going to say? Invest with me. I'll save you money. I'll grow your portfolio. Now, is it important? Yes. It's not about the product. In fact, I went and looked at all my social media posts for the last 2 weeks. You know, what do I serve? I serve food and drink. Do you know how many times I talked about it? 0. What am I talking about? I'm talking about experience. The number one thing people desire today, Texas Monthly did an article on it in 2016, was experience. How do we make them feel when they walk into our business? Do we care about them? Do we want them to be better people? Do we want to treat them kindly when they're in our business? The answer is yes. So when I post something, it's usually about an event that's going to drive people to my business to create experiences for people to come together, connect with their friends and family, and celebrate life. That's our purpose. And I have to communicate that via social media. Aha moments. I love aha moments. I work with the designer. I always am thinking about how can we create an aha moment. When you turn the corner, you're like, oh, wow, look at that. Turn the corner. Oh, wow, look at that artwork. Look at that chandelier. Look at that fixture. We talked about this the other day. Half of my team was in tears. Just go around the table. What are you grateful for? Just be grateful. Grateful prevents entitlement. I can't be in a situation where I'm entitled if I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for my customers, grateful for my family, grateful for God. I'm so grateful. Be grateful. Doesn't take any extra time. Be kind. I told Ty on the way here. Now, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you. When I was in high school, I was a kind person. And I knew that I needed to do something with hospitality and service. Now, I grew up a fat kid. Some of you probably relate. And so people picked on me all the time. And so regardless of socioeconomic background, regardless of how someone grew up, I was kind to them. I was class favorite 3 of my 4 years in high school because I was kind. Just be kind. Now, I told you earlier about confrontation. Now, love is a crazy thing. There's a song about it. I'm almost out of time here. But the most loving thing we can do to our team is just be honest with them. Be honest with them. Tell them the truth. It hurts to hurt sometimes, right? It's hurtful. I get hurt sometimes too. But the most loving thing we can do is just be honest with our team. Biggest challenges I face is protecting the value of my brand. What I say yes to defines my brand. What I say no to defines the brand. Who builds my restaurant defines my brand. Who I give to defines my brand. My faith defines my brand. What I drive defines my brand. Where I eat defines my brand. The way my kids behave defines my brand. The way my wife behaves defines my brand. Every single thing you do defines my brand. If I'm hosting a Bible breakfast every month at Marty B's, but yet I'm out drinking, smoking, chasing crazy women, is anybody going to show up to my Bible breakfast? Nope, not going to do it. One other thing, someone asked me, said, um, you're a person of faith and you're running a business. I said, that's right. Well, if I have a business and I'm a person of faith, what would be the first step for me to live that out? I said, the first thing I would do is I'd work on me. Nobody's going to do anything until they see a change in you. They see a change in you, they're going to feel something's different. And when they see that, you're going to start changing behavior. You're going to start changing culture. And you're going to see a transformation in your business like you've never seen. Thank you.